Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we welcome you into a Wednesday installment. The new drug today is an old voice. Frangie and Carlyon with you from Indy. Pete Prisco joins us.
I'm the new drug.
You're the new drug.
Wow.
Let me tell you this.
God help us all.
Let me tell
Oh, my
you this.
God, that'd be a hell of a drug.
When Huey Lewis was rocking it back in the 80s, Prisco and I were running the streets.
Yes,
okay?
we were.
I can tell you
Yes,
that.
we
Those,
were.
those mid-'80s when we had no money.
Nothing.
Okay, we had nothing.
Nothing.
But we found enough to buy a few beers back in
have
the
some
day.
fun.
Yeah, we did. The Pete Prisco from CBS. But
Not me. I was.
you were good. You were a choir boy. You were a choir boy. How are you?
I'm good.
Good
You?
to see you. We're great. Pete, along with our friend Bucky Brooks, are among the mayors here. You know,
That's right.
We're the crowd. We're the spectators. We watch the mayors. How many combines for you now?
31.
31 combines.
Yeah.
You told the story about Super Bowls. It was 36 or 30?
36, and I'm tied for second.
Yeah?
Consecutive. Behind Mitch Albom, if you can believe that.
Really?
Wow,
Mitch
really?
Albom? I mean,
So,
from
you know
Detroit.
what somebody
yeah.
said to me? They said, you should Tanya Harding him so he doesn't get out next time. Give him a bang on the knee. And
There you go. All right, Pete.
I was surprised at that, by the way, because there were only a handful of guys at the COVID game.
Okay.
You remember the COVID game?
I do. Yeah.
And there was barely anybody in the press box. I didn't know he was in there. Otherwise, somebody told me I was tied for second.
He'd have the record.
Yeah.
So there you go. A lot of things to get to today on the program. We'll set the scene. You're going to hear from our friend Tony Boselli, the executive vice president. We did it live.
Who is that? I don't know him.
Or he's the buffer. You may
The
know him as
meddler.
the meddler.
He's the meddler. That's his new job. He's going to meddle on everything.
Pete says, call him the meddler. I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so,
Yeah, I will.
but Tony was on with us. I interviewed him on Helmets and Heels, and we're going to replay that at 5 o'clock. Our friend Bucky Brooks at 4:40 comes up. You're going to hear from some of the players here. Mason Graham, everyone's talking about. Also, former Gator Shamar James. You're going to hear some of those interviews. That comes up in the 4:20 stretch. Headlines later on in the program. So we got a lot to do on the program. Let's start with our buddy Pete. Let's start with the Jags. I get the impression the vibe here is very good. I know it is for all of us. We've had this conversation. Finally got to meet James Gladstone. He was sharp. Had him on the show yesterday. Liam, I've had him on a few times now. They seem aligned, and it seems like a good group, doesn't it?
It does seem like a good group. And you know, you do hear some stuff when you talk to people about the age and the youth and the inexperience. And I say to all those guys, I say, is that really a bad thing? Is it really a bad thing? Because new ideas, new ways to do things, that's not necessarily a bad thing when you consider they were doing things the other way and it didn't work. Yeah. It hadn't worked in a long time. And so I think it's good for this organization to have youth, have some guys that are doing things a different way. And I think ultimately, you know, we don't know,
right.
But ultimately I think it's a step in the right direction.
And they've got some big decisions to make pretty much immediately. Let's start with Christian Kirk. What do you think they should do?
I would go to him and say, hey, Christian, we're going to redo this contract. We're going to take the money down. Maybe we'll give you some incentives where you can earn it back. I know you like to be here. I know this is a place you like, and try and keep him that way. And if he doesn't want to do that, then I think you have to make the tough decision, and he would go out the door.
You guys both understand the whole capology part better than I do. But I understand this. He's a good player, and he is a connection point for Trevor Lawrence. And it's hard to move on from good players. I hope he's here. I passionately hope number 13's on this football team. I think they're going to, no matter how the whole salary cap thing plays out, and again, you guys have a better feel for that than I do, they're a better football team with him on it, Pete.
Again, though, you got to look at, when you look at the big salary cap picture, you got to look at production and play time and that number. And sometimes, you know, he hasn't been healthy.
Yeah, I know.
And so you got to look at it from that standpoint, be real about it. I think he's a good player when he's on the field, too. I know Trevor likes him. I know they're friendly. I know he likes Jacksonville. I think you can come to a happy medium if you work that contract out where you take some of that money and restructure it and give him the ability to make it back with incentives.
Do you like the Jaguar running backs, or do you think that's something, is that a sneaky need for Jacksonville?
It's a hard evaluation because of the way the offensive line is played and the way they ran the ball. I just think it's hard to evaluate Bigsby. It's hard to evaluate Etienne when you don't push anybody around. And again, I go back to the problems that they have. The offensive line is an issue. It remains an issue. You don't move people. And so if you don't move people, how do you evaluate your running backs? Go back to the Eagles. Saquon Barkley is phenomenal, right? He's phenomenal. But he averaged 4.2 per rush before he was touched. Think about that.
Right.
That doesn't happen. That hadn't happened for anybody in Jacksonville. When he was with the Giants and they didn't block very well, was he the same back he was in Philadelphia? Of course not. So fix the offensive line, then we can judge the back.
I get the impression that Philadelphia, the Eagles winning this Super Bowl was a reminder of the importance of the trenches, wasn't it? We fell so in love with the wonderful quarterback play of Patrick Mahomes for so many years and Tom Brady for so many years before that, and newcomers like Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, who are such good quarterbacks, and others. But this was not that Jalen Hurts isn't a good player. He's a very good player. But this was a reminder of the trenches, wasn't it?
Absolutely. If you can protect your quarterback, block for the run game, make it easier on the quarterback, and play with the lead so your pass rush can get after the other guy's quarterback, you're going to win a lot of games. Now, it still starts with the quarterback position. It always will. But if you have those two sides of the ball and you're dominant like they've been, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Mason Graham spoke today. Do you like him if he's available at 5?
I love his game. I love the way he uses his hands, and I've watched a lot of his tape. You know, the other defensive tackle next to him, Grant, really good, strong, physical player. But when you watch the tape, who gets doubled? Mason Graham's the one who gets doubled, and he handles it. He's not a big guy. That is a little concerning to me because I went and looked at it. I always go look at – I don't talk to him. I go look at their body. I want to see what he looks like. He's a little light, a little smallish, but he's a wrestler. And he grew up as a wrestler, so he plays with the low center of gravity. He knows how to get off blocks. It's hard to block him. But, again, there are concerns about the size, and will he hold up on a consistent basis? I love his game. I think he's phenomenal. He has hand usage like a veteran who's been in the league for 10 years.
Aaron Donald wasn't big.
No.
I mean, Chris Jones is big. Aaron Donald wasn't big.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald.
Elijah Cansey with Tampa Bay, who's becoming a good player, isn't big.
Correct.
Right.
Great comparison. So Pete, this team, I think look, when you lose 13 games, you got a lot of problems, not one or two. But they've got to build the trenches. I think we all know that, whether it's first or not. So how do you do it? Do you try and go find an offensive lineman in free agency? Do you try and draft your defensive tackle? And I know it's not that binary. I know it's not black and white. But big picture, how do you? Because it's more than one guy. It's both sides of the ball. How do they get that better?
Well, I think if you got a guy, let's just say they got Graham in the first round.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden you look at your defensive line, you go, wow. Because I think Mason Smith is going to be a good player.
I think he is too.
I really do. So you have that 4, and they're not old. That's not an old group. And you can get after people. If you can get after people with 4, and you're not great on the back end, you can cover a lot of things up that way. So I think getting a guy like that is important. On the offensive line, there are guys you can go. Drew Dahlman's a center. I love him. I mean, everybody I talked to, I went back and watched his tape. He got hurt last year, but he's an athletic center. He's tough. He's physical. You can get better by getting a guy like that. Or you go to the guard market. There are guys on the market, veterans on the market, who were hurt a year ago. Fries is one of them in Indy. James Daniels in Pittsburgh, good player. They've had some experience. They've played. You can get a guy like that. Then you can, if you got Graham in the first round, you could come back in the second round and get an offensive lineman. Because one thing Jacksonville's done a poor job of is drafting and develop guys that can ready to step in. When the Eagles have a guy go down, for example, Mailata went down for a while. Fred Johnson went in and played left tackle and did a nice job. You know, when the right guard gets hurt, Steen, who they drafted at Alabama, steps in and plays. You know, he's not Becton, but he steps in and does it. Where's Jacksonville's backups? They don't develop any of them. So I think at some point in this draft, they got to draft a couple of offensive linemen for developmental reasons.
Jair Alexander, certainly on the market. If you're the Jaguars, would you be interested? And what do you think the compensation would involve?
I would be interested. I love him as a player. He's another guy that doesn't stay on the field all the time, and he has a hefty contract, so that's concerning. Campanelli probably knows him as well as anybody because he was there. Look, I like the kid. I have actually had long conversations with him. I think he's a competitive player, but there are concerns about being on the field. And he's not a big corner. And so when you're missing time because you're not a big corner, that could be concerning. But I would definitely investigate that. You get a guy like that who, more than anything, you know what he would bring to that team? He'd bring a swagger. And I can go back to a story. I was there in training camp last year. Jordan Love, his first year as a starting quarterback, he's taken over. He throws an interception. I hear a yell from the other side. Get your head out of here. It's Alexander. So I asked Jordan Love about it after the game. He goes, I respect him for that, and I love him for that. He brings up everything. And I asked Alexander about it. He goes, I love Jordan Love. He goes, but I'm going to make him play better. And that's something that Jacksonville lacked that. They lacked that. He would bring a swagger and an attitude to that defense.
Yeah, that brings edge, too. A little bit of an edge, too. Pete Prisco with us. It's brought to you by Showtime Sports Cars and Collectibles, the best collectible store in town, located on Phillips Highway at the end of Shad Road. If you're a collector, you need to get to Showtime Sports Cars and Collectibles. All right, let's take a big picture. Topics here. Tush push is a topic. Kickoffs are a topic. What other topics you see? What's trending here that was around your NFL brethren?
Well, let's start with the tush push. I'm not a big fan of the play, I'll be honest with you. But after listening and talking with Nick Sirianni yesterday, and we had him on our set, and he explained the time and effort and detail they put into perfecting that play, just because other teams can't stop it, should you outlaw it? No. So I get it. I understand it. It's not a fun play to watch. It's boring, okay? But it works. So why should you stop? Because you can't push other people and do that type of thing. So I like it. I like the idea. I don't think they'll outlaw it. I think that's just one thing thrown out there.
Kickoffs, they're talking about moving the touchback to the 35. They're talking about finding a way to make the onside kick different.
The onside kick needs to change. You got to have a surprise element to the onside kick. Otherwise, what's the reason for it? We're going to do it. Okay, we're going to do the onside kick. There's no reason to have that in the game if you're not going to allow the surprise element into it. So that will change. As far as moving it to the 35, they're trying to get more kickoffs.
Right.
You know how I feel. Just eliminate the damn kickoff and put the ball on the 30-yard line and just play football.
In terms of the Rams and Matthew Stafford, this one's puzzling to me. I don't know why the Rams would want to move on. I know he's expensive, but, I mean, obviously there's a lot of teams. There's a report about Tom Brady and the Raiders. The Giants have an interest. Where do you think it lands with Stafford?
If you're a team that doesn't have a quarterback and you're not interested in Matt Stafford, there's something wrong with you. And if you're the Rams and you're willing to give up Matt Stafford, there's something wrong with you. I don't get it. The Rams go into Philly in the snow. He brings it back. They're within a whisker of winning that game, or at least sending it over. And they're willing to move away from him for what? For $10 million maybe? Because that's, the difference of what he would get paid to what he wants. That's ridiculous. So I'm the Rams. I'm built now. I got these guys together. I got this young group together. I keep him. What do you do? What's your alternative?
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Rodgers is the conversation piece.
And
I mean, that's, whether it happens or not, that's the narrative is if they move on from Matt Stafford, it's to bring in Aaron Rodgers.
Who would be cheaper.
Yeah.
And look, I'll be honest with you. Aaron Rodgers, the last 6-7 weeks of the season, played good football. In talking to people around the Jets organization, he was a grade A pain in the ass. Not to the players, but like he would change plays when they were sent in, and they wanted him to run this, and he would run something else, and there was no. So I think that's a concern. They want a new culture. Sean McVay's probably strong enough in his belief that he could handle him, and it would be a lot cheaper. So from that standpoint, okay, I get it. But I think Matt Stafford's a better player right now than Aaron Rodgers. If you're the Rams, don't you think that?
Yeah, I do think it. But apparently they don't. I'm with Hays. If you're worried about Aaron Rodgers is not going to be that cheap. He might be cheaper, but he's not going to be cheap. And I don't know that Rodgers has much left. There's times he still looks like Aaron Rodgers, but boy, there's times he doesn't.
Well, I think the injury was far worse than he let on.
And maybe that's it.
And it took him a while to get over that. He didn't move early in the season. A big part of his game is moving around, Frank. As the season wore on, the last 6-7 weeks of the season, he moved around. Yeah. He looked like Aaron Rodgers. But, again, there's the other stuff that comes with it. And is it worth it? Here's the other thing about the teams looking at the Rams. If you're the Giants or the Raiders, does Matt Stafford make you the division favorite or even the second team in the division? Take the East. If Matt Stafford goes to the Giants, are they better than the Eagles or the Commanders?
No.
No. If he goes to the West, are they better than the Chargers or the Chiefs or even the Broncos, the Raiders?
No, probably not.
So what's your end game on that? Because he's only playing 3 more years probably of good football till he's 40. So what's your end game there?
Final thing. How close are the Jaguars? I've asked this. I asked it to the Jaguar brass. Going to ask it to Tony and Bucky. I'll ask you. How quick? They're a 4-13 team. Hays and I have had this talk every day. It just doesn't feel like to us. I'm speaking for you, Hays. I shouldn't, but it doesn't to me, and I think Hays agrees. It doesn't feel like they had 4-13 talent. I'm not saying they had 13-4 talent, but it felt like they were better than the record turned out to be. In your opinion, how hard will it be to fix it?
It's going to be a challenge to fix it to the point where you can compete for Super Bowls right away, but fix it to win a division, I think that's possible, and quickly. Because I thought they were better than what they were last year, too. I'm as guilty as you were. I mean, I thought they were going to be a playoff team. And I didn't think they'd win the division, but I thought they'd be a playoff team. I'm still a believer in the quarterback. And I know Liam Cohen is a believer in the quarterback, and I think he's good for the quarterback. They'll run the ball better. They'll get more physical. They're not that far off. They really are not that far off. And I think if they take the right approach by fixing those lines, and they got to do both of them, the interior, those lines, and get nastier, bigger, tougher, meaner, angrier, and they do that, and that quarterback plays to what I think he can play, they can win the division.
Pete Prisco from CBSSports.com, always brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles, located on Phillips Highway at the end of Shad Road, the best collectible store in town. What's on the agenda? Prime 47? I mean,
I haven't gone. Have you? I'm
going tonight. But
you?
Aren't you? Can they even have Prime 47 if you're not there?
What time are you going?
Well, we have to have a Jaguar broadcast dinner there. It's 7:15. I may hang around a little bit afterwards.
I might come say hello and have a drink.
Yeah, I'd love to have you. So come on by Prime 40. When you're with Prisco, you're like royalty.
That's right.
That's why you invite him, because you're royalty.
Yeah, but you know what? The meetings are so late now that it's hard for everybody
to get
to
there
out.
late.
And the old man like me, I got to be in bed early. You know?
I'm so the same guy. Pete Prisco. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for stopping by. When we come back, I want you to hear from some of the key people involved here. Mason Graham, Shamar James. And Hays and me have spent a lot of time talking to the players, being around players. What was the vibe like? That's our conversation piece after this. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
I did not see this one coming.
Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Looking for a unique way to boost your team's spirit or raise funds for an organization? How about a thrilling, action-packed game of poker at Best Bet? Experience the thrill of poker while enhancing teamwork and communication skills. Whether you're a novice or a pro, our expert dealers will guide you through every hand. Enjoy delicious food, refreshing drinks, and a lively atmosphere, all at Best Bet. It's the perfect blend of fun and games. Book your team building or charity event today. Visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004. 4004.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Experience the high-flying action truly unlike anything on the Supercross circuit at Daytona Supercross. Saturday, March 1st. Side-by-side intensity of Monster Energy AMA Supercross on the most demanding track of the circuit. Get close to the action as riders get pushed to the limits on the Ricky Carmichael-designed track. For a chance to win tickets to Daytona Supercross, answer this. Who won the 450 Finals Supercross at Daytona in 2024? Text the winner's last name to 641-1010 now.
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Staying Alive, One Night of the Bee Gees comes to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts March 6th. A tribute like you've never seen before. Staying Alive features the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist, performed live. Experience Night Fever, More Than a Woman, How Deep Is Your Love, and more live on stage. Staying Alive, One Night of the Bee Gees, March 6th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Come on.
Now, Combine Commentary with Hays Carlyon. Brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We are back in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. Thanks for listening to the Frangie Show. Frank, we had a chance to catch up with some of the players that were here today, linebackers and defensive linemen. And, in terms of Mason Graham, it is interesting. He doesn't look like this elite football prospect on first glance. But I will say it is refreshing that we have moved, at least the Jaguars appear to have moved on from the wingspan and the measurables and the traits. And because Mason Graham is a guy that when you watch him play, he just absolutely destroys people. Daniel Jeremiah had a wonderful comment about him. He's a block destroyer. Again, go back to, and this is what Mason sort of highlighted today. He was asked about all this. You don't have the same physical frame as some of these other guys, and he said, put on the Ohio State film. That's my answer to that. Put on the Ohio State film. Again, as a reminder, Michigan beat Ohio State 13-10 in the finale. Mason Graham was a massive reason why Ohio State couldn't get anything going on offense that day. Ohio State then went on to score 42 points, 41 points, 28 points, and 34 points en route to the national title. Mason Graham, again, I think the wrestling background, he talked about that today, how much that's helped him from a leverage standpoint. He is somebody that, look, if he's there at 5, I'm not saying that it's the only route the Jaguars can take. But if Mason Graham is there at 5, that would be really appealing. Is he going to wow you with how he looks? No. But when he gets out there on the gridiron, he is a man amongst boys.
He is the name most people associate the Jags with the 5th overall pick. I mean, Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, Will Campbell, an offensive lineman from LSU. There's other names. Travis Hunter could drop, and then, of course, he comes into the conversation, or he enters the conversation. But I do believe Mason Graham is the name you, at least today, as we sit here at the end of February, a couple months before the draft, obviously, he's the name you hear the most. Mason Graham was on the podium today and asked a bunch of questions from media, including some from Jacksonville.
Mason, what's been the biggest green flag for you when you've met with teams so far?
Just how hard I work, off the field stuff, all about business. No one's really concerned about that, but, I'm not a mysterious guy. You don't need to look deep into, me to find out about me. Everything's out there. I don't really, nothing to hide.
Have you met with the Jaguars yet? What are your impressions on them?
Yeah, I've met with the Jaguars, great organization. Obviously new staff, new GM. So good meeting those guys. Thought the meeting went well.
Coach Kevin Wilkins, what's your relationship like with him last year?
Yeah, it was cool with him. He coached our edges last year, but was really involved with just the D-line in general. So I actually ran into him the other day, and we just caught up and chalked it up for 20 minutes. So it was pretty cool.
Ability to rush the passer, how would you rate it?
I rate it pretty high. I pride myself on playing the run and the pass because I feel like that's what a complete D lineman does. But obviously rushing the passer, I feel like I'm really good at too. I can run through guys, or I can be a finesse guy too at the same time.
Who's the best offensive lineman you went against this year?
People always ask me that question. I don't really know, but I'd just say one of the Texas guards, or probably one of the Texas guards.
I don't know if it's true or not. Do you think you're overlooked because of speed, quickness, measurements, things like that?
I don't know. I think I'm, pretty athletic. I don't know really where that kind of came from, but I feel like I'm one of the most athletic guys here. I feel like I kind of proved that, and you can see it on my tape.
And he answered it, see it on my tape, and he's exactly right. Mia asked a few of those questions, as did John Shipley from Jacksonville from the SI website here in town. He'd be my pick. That's the guy I'd want. If you ask me which guy I would want, then, and again, if Travis Hunter falls, then you have to change the conversation, right? Because he might be the best player in the draft. But assuming that's not going to happen, he would be. I'm tempted with Tedero. Am I saying Tedero?
Yeah, Tedero McMillan.
I'm tempted with Tedero McMillan because he's a 6'4", 6'5" receiver. He's got some Mike Evans in him. And my goodness, can you imagine having him opposite Brian Thomas Jr.? I'm tempted a little bit with Will Johnson because I think he's a very good cornerback, although he's more big than fast. He's 6'2", 205, and not maybe as fast. But Mason Graham would be the guy. If you told me right now you can reasonably expect to have, pick the guy you can reasonably expect to have there, Mason Graham would be my pick.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it would depend. To me, because I love T-Mac out of Arizona, and the opportunity to line him up with BTJ would be super exciting. But you have to factor in sort of where is this franchise. And it's hard to talk for months about trenches and toughness and physicality and let's go win the street fight and then take a receiver at 5. It just is. And again, they have 9 other picks. I get all that, and we'll see what they do in free agency. But I think they need to put a physical stamp at pick number 5. Look, if there was a great offensive lineman, that'd be the pick at 5. I just don't think that there is one that necessarily warrants the selection. Now, that could maybe Will Campbell out of LSU, continues to have a great draft process, and he may not even be there. New England is desperate for offensive line help. They may take him at 4. But I just think Mason Graham, in terms of probably will be there, I think most people believe he is a top 5 talent in the draft. It would be hard to pass on him just because it would really anchor that defensive front, and it'd be great to see what Hines Allen and Walker can do if that quarterback feels like he can't step up. And right now, the opposing quarterback facing the Jaguars feels like he can step up. I mean, that's what we've seen. I like Mason Smith too, but I'd like to have Mason Smith and Mason Graham in there.
And they stepped up the whole time against the Jaguars last year. Meanwhile, we talked a lot of Jaguars. There's also 9 Gators here today, this week, I should say. Cam Jackson, you caught up with him a little bit earlier on. And Shamar James is a linebacker that might be the fastest linebacker at the Senior Bowl, we were told. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. He was at the podium today as well.
You guys had a great finish to the season last year. What was some of the keys in you guys having that great win streak to close the year out?
Yeah, I kind of believe that it needed us to all band together, offense, defense, special teams, and that's kind of what we did. I believe it was that Kentucky week where we kind of put it all together. We just played as a team for the first time that year, and we just kept building, kept stacking as the season went on.
What do you think DJ Lagway can be in year 2 for Florida?
Even bigger and better leader, I would say. As a quarterback, you got to lead the team. Whether that's the offense, the defense, or the special teams. You need a good quarterback to have a good team. So I have complete faith in DJ and that Florida Gators team going into 2025.
What are some goals that you have for yourself this week in terms of workout? I'm assuming you'll work out.
Yes, sir. Just put up the best numbers that I can. Run a fast time in the 40. Show my skill and versatility in the skill drills, and just show my rest of my athletic ability in the rest of the drills as well.
Do you have a certain team that stood out to you so far in meetings, or someplace that you hope to go?
All the teams that I met with stood out. Okay. Yes, sir.
Very good.
Shamar, when you looked up at the scoreboard in Mobile and you saw the zebra numbers, one of the fastest times ever on record, what did that mean to you?
Oh, man, it was amazing. It kind of goes back to that training, like I said, at Exos, just getting them, give credit to those guys over there, get me faster, bigger, and stronger. But, it just gives a testament to God, man. He gave me this athletic ability, and he allowed me to showcase it in Mobile.
When it comes to speed versus physicality, what would you say is the biggest trait you've tried to sell yourself on to NFL teams?
I would say probably just speed. I would say speed, my athletic ability, being able to cover sideline to sideline. A 3-down linebacker that can, stop the run and go play in coverage.
Who are some of the best running backs that you went up against in college?
Oh, man, they all were good. But I'll probably say Trevor Etienne, an old teammate of mine, played for those Bulldogs down there. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, Le'Veon Moss from Texas A&M, just to name a few. Yes, sir.
Is there a game or performance you had during your time at Florida that sort of stands out, something that you want to keep remembering as you move forward?
Yeah, I'd probably say this year, the 2024 season against LSU in the Swamp. I'll say that's probably one of my best games I had in my college career, and 2023 against Utah, first game of the season.
When I say Billy Napier, you say?
Great coach.
Do you think people continue to sleep and question him nationally?
If they do, they should stop. I feel like this 2025 Gators team is going to put on a great display this year, and I just have full confidence in them.
At what point did you realize DJ was going to be that guy?
You kind of knew it, him coming in, just like his aura, as people may say. But as the season went on, just him getting better and better each and every week. His leadership skills improve each and every week, and just like I said, I'm excited to see him improve in 2025. So I'll just say he came in with that. He just got better each and every week.
Who's the best guy going back to Florida next year that we're not talking about right now, but a year from now we'll all be talking about?
Man, that's a lot of guys. But just to name a few, probably Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp on the defensive side. On the offensive side, you got Trey Wilson, DJ Lagway, of course. You got Jaden Ball, the running back that scored 5 touchdowns in one game. So, that's just to name a few. But those are we got some dogs on that roster.
Were you surprised Caleb didn't enter the draft?
Am I surprised?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say surprised, but everybody has their own journey, and I guess he felt that it was best to come back for another year and build his draft stock and play one more year with the Gators. So I wouldn't say too early or whatever, but I feel like that was the best decision for him.
Why did you make the decision to enter the draft?
I was ready for this opportunity. Yes, ma'am. I feel like I'm one of the best players here. I may be the youngest, but I still have that utmost confidence in myself.
The comments of Shamar James. Hayes and Mia did most of that interview between the two of you. I really like him. He was at the SEC Media Days last year. I got to know him a little bit. I think he's a really good player. I wish he'd come back. But I think he's a really good player. I think he's going to be, because of how he runs, I think he's going to be a very good pro.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of draft process he has, because he's the kind of guy that if he does great here, if he posts some great time and follows it up at Florida's Pro Day, he could be a riser in this process. And, so I think right now you're probably looking at somewhere between the end of day 2, early stages of 3, probably that third, fourth round range. But if Shamar James has a fantastic draft process and really does showcase that speed, I think you can get behind the other parts of his game. I mean, I think he's physical. I think he's got good instincts from watching him at Florida. So, yeah, I mean, if he dazzles with the 40 and the agility stuff, yeah, he could make himself a lot of money this week in Indianapolis.
All right, we will take a break. When we come back, my friend Bucky Brooks stops by. He's like the star here, isn't he?
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows Bucky. He works for NFL Network and, of course, for the Jaguar Radio Network, and he is everywhere. Everybody wants a little piece of Bucky, but he's going to join me in just a bit. We'll talk NFL, Jags, and a whole lot more. Bucky's up next. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Hays Carlyon, here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Making spring a Jacksonville thing.
What a week! Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
Enhanced by
Dermagnify, medical, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology, San Jose Collision, and Doorbell Farms Produce Delivery.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
I'm Holt Harrell. I was talking to someone the other day and they were shocked that some lawyers get more from a case than their own client. After paying bills and costs, if we are supposed to get more than a client, we won't. That's the Harrell and Harrell promise. When we say that we treat our clients like family, we mean it. If you've been in an accident, call us today. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing, plumbingjacksonville.com.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
I'm Hays Carlyon, and I'll give you glimpses of future NFL stars and who could be a good fit here in Jacksonville. Listen for Combine Commentary with Carlyon during the Frangie Show on 1010XL, brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. In the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, and still, Awaken 180 continues to stand alone as the proven solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company is Fleming Island's first and only craft brewery, founded by the co-founder and brewmaster of Wicked Barley. Barley and Pie serves up local brews made right in your backyard. Hungry? Dive into their sourdough Neapolitan pizza, made fresh in-house every day. Find your new go-to spot in Fleming Island at Barley and Pie Brewing Company.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The Combine is a showcase of skills. Live from Indy, Hodges Mazda presents The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
All right, welcome back to the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Frank Frangie, along with my pal Bucky Brooks, who's here, the kind of the star of the Combine. You're like the star of the Combine, aren't you?
I don't know about the star.
You're all around.
Look, it's a fun event. I've always told people this. Like, the reason there's so much excitement when you get to the Combine is less about the prospects. It's more about all the guys catching up. It's the only time that football people are all in the same city, in the same building. And so as much as we talk about, like, hey, let's learn about this class, whatever, it's really kind of like part convention where everyone is catching up, sharing ideas, talking about trends, all of those things. And so to me, that's the fun part, to walk away here learning about where the game has come and where it's going.
Well, I can tell you that I walked with you yesterday, and it was, hey, Bucky, 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 hey, Bucky, hey, Bucky, Bucky. So you're like the star of the Combine. Hey, what do you think? You and I haven't visited on air. What do you think of James Gladstone, Liam Cohen? I had them both on yesterday. I really like, and I've just met them. I like these guys. What's your first impression?
So what I like about what has transpired over the course of the offseason is one of the things that you and I have talked about privately is that the organization would never win until you have complete alignment from top to bottom.
Right.
From Shad Khan all the way down to the people that work on the custodial staff, everyone has to believe in the vision of the Jaguars. And what has happened with Tony Boselli coming in, with James Gladstone and Liam Cohen, I think we finally have a trio that sees the game the same way. Doesn't mean that they won't have disagreements, but it believes that they see the way the game needs to be played, the players that need to be on the team, they see them in the same way. And when you have that, it allows you to be able to make decisions that are always with the team in mind, because everyone does. There's no hidden agendas. Everyone knows exactly what they want. They know what kind of environment and culture they want to build. And I thought it was great that Gladstone talked about the culture is organic because it's part of the ecosystem of bringing in players who have the intangible qualities of what you want. Well, when you look up culture, it talks about a group of people who have a shared belief system.
Yeah.
So they're already in alignment there, and with Tony, able kind of to what I would say bridge the gap between new school in terms of Liam and James, old school in terms of what the Jaguars have always been, even at their best when he was playing with them. I think you now have an opportunity to build a franchise and a team that has like some of the traditions that some of the great small market teams have, and that's how you overcome. So when you look at the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, and some of those teams, you know exactly what you're getting from those teams when you just say those names. Hopefully the Jaguars become synonymous with a style of play and a style of player that allows you to know when the Jaguars are coming to town, this is what you need to expect.
That's a great point. When you play the Steelers or the Ravens or whoever, you know what they are, no matter who the people are. Good point. All right, you're in a good position to evaluate this because you see the Jags up close and personal on our broadcast. Yet you've been a scout, you've been around the league forever. How close are they? And I know it's a broad question, but I mean, how good's the roster in your mind compared to one that wins double-digit games? What do you think?
Well, here's what I love about the NFL. You can turn this thing around really, really quickly. Just think, in the Final Four last year, we had the Washington Commanders playing in the NFC Championship game. A team that finished 4-12, 4-13 a season ago. They get a quarterback. They bring in new general manager, new head coach, flip the roster, and boom, away they go.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think this situation is as dire as the Commanders' situation, but I think the results can be very much the same. It's about getting everyone on the same page. One, you got to get all your players back healthy and playing well. Two, you got to make sure that the quarterback has the synergy with the people around him on offense to get it going. Three, on defense, you got to have an identity and make sure that you draft and acquire players that fit the identity. To me, you're not far away, but there's a lot of work to be done. And I think some of the work is with the players that are in existence, but a lot of the work is the front office making sure that the pieces of the puzzle fit together so they can play at a championship level.
All right, I'm going to ask you where you think the holes are. I'm going to tell you where I think the holes are. The interiors of both lines and stopping that damn deep ball over the top. Whether that means better safeties, whether that means another corner opposite Tyson, and I think the two defensive tackles and guard, center, guard. And I love all our guys, and I'm not. And I'm, that's what I think.
Yeah, we're being honest. Well, I think a couple of things. I think you're right. The center, both the interior, both offensive and defensive lines are problematic because you want to get better there. Giving up the deep ball, the explosive plays, gave up too many of them. That is an issue. I would say when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, because this is a copycat league, and when you look at the Eagles and what the Eagles have done traditionally year after year after year, they've always invested top picks in offensive and defensive linemen. The Jaguars need to follow suit. The only way you're going to win this game going forward is you got to be able to dominate in the trenches, particularly in the AFC where, look, it is a very, very physical game. We have to get younger and we have to get better in those areas. On defense, the top players have to play like the top guys. So, yeah, we have Tyson Campbell, and he is being paid like a number one corner. We need to find someone on the other side to complement him, not as a number two, but as a 1B to 1A, however that looks. As safety has been one of the more disappointing positions. I was disappointed last year in Andre Sisco, Antonio Johnson, everyone who went back there, with the exception of Dewey, who did a good job of kind of solidifying things as a glue guy. Yeah, we got to get better at those spots. But before we can talk about the back end, we got to solidify the front end of the defensive line and the offensive line to have a chance.
With Liam Cohen, Grant Udinski, Spencer Whipple all in place, what are your expectations for Trevor Lawrence in the 25 season?
I expect Trevor to bounce back. One, I know Trevor is prideful. Two, the competitiveness. He has to get tired of losing. Look, you got to remember, before he came to the Jaguars, he had never lost.
I know.
Not significant. He won in high school. He won in college. His expectation is to win and to win at a high level. It has to be frustrating for him to have endured some of the things that he's had to endure as the quarterback for the Jaguars. I expect Liam and everyone around the quarterback to tap into that competitiveness. I expect them to challenge him, to push him to be great, but to also support him when he needs that support. The thing that I would say he needs to know that the people around him love him and are going to support him unconditionally, because I think that's how you get the best out of him. I'm not saying that he can't be coached hard, but I feel like there has to be this sense that everyone around him believes that number 16 is the guy to get us to a championship level. If he has that belief, then you can coach him hard, and then he'll respond to that coaching. But the most important thing that has to happen over the offseason, before we talk about the mechanics and techniques, that relationship between Liam and the people around the quarterback has to be one where the trust is there so that Trevor can be the best he can be.
Bucky Brooks with us. You hear him on our Jaguar broadcast. You see him on NFL Network. Christian Kirk. I hope Christian Kirk's on the team. I don't know where you stand on this. Everyone's talking about cap, and he's the biggest cap number. Man, Bucky, you can't get rid of good players, man. You don't have enough good players to move on from a good one. Am I way off on that? What do you think about Christian Kirk?
Anyone who has been around the team in game. I'm privileged enough to be on the sideline. You're privileged enough to not only call the game, but to be around it in practice. Everyone knows, man, that's number 16's trusted confidant when it comes to the clutch. Him and Evan Ingram are the two guys. I cannot see a situation where he is gone. We can talk about reduction. You can talk about all those other things. He is too important, too valuable to number 16 in this offense to be let go. When he's healthy and plays, you're talking about a 1,000-yard receiver who's going to put up 12 or so yards per catch. He's valuable. You have to have him. Now, we want to continue to improve the things around Brian Thomas Jr. because the salary cap is going to make it hard once Trevor starts making that big money.
Yeah.
That you have to kind of reduce some of the salaries around him to make it work. But to me, there is always a place on the roster for Christian Kirk. We've seen other teams. I look at the Philadelphia Eagles with two high-priced wide receivers in A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They got a high-priced running back. They got a tight end that makes big cash. They find a way to figure it out. I think it's about pencil whipping the situation to make sure that you keep Christian Kirk around. Don't subtract good players from this team. This team is close, and you don't want to take steps back before you go forward.
With Anthony Richardson struggling like he has, and now that's the competition they're telling us. With the Titans not knowing what they're going to do, they got the first pick. We don't know. I don't know if Will Levis is the guy. The Texans dropped a little last year. Can the Jags win the division? I mean, is that too ambitious to win the division this year?
No, I don't think it's too ambitious. I think the one thing that you have to do if you're Liam Cohen, if you're everybody, the first thing you have to do when we think about building a championship team, you have to win the division. When you win the division, it gives you a golden ticket to the playoffs. So every focus, everything that is done should be to build a team that can dominate the division. And as a byproduct, if you dominate the division, you're going to be pretty good in the AFC, and that'll give you a chance to get out and get into the Super Bowl. But it has to be about doing it. When I look at the rest of the division, look, they have their own issues. Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback. Indianapolis has a young quarterback that is struggling. The Texans are the cream of the crop, but they have the bullseye on their back. And when we look at the way that we have played that team, we've always been close. The games have been always very competitive. We feel like we can close the gap, and whether we split it or whatever, we feel like we can compete with them. This team has to be rougher and tougher to be able to deal with them, but I don't think we're that far off.
All right, Bucky Brooks from NFL Network and Jaguars Radio Network. So what are you doing? What do you got today? What are you hosting? Where are you the star? Where are you today? What do you got?
Like Frank, this was going to be a chill day, but I came over because I'm going to hang out with you. I'm going to do a little huddle up later on, talk more Jags, and then I'm just going to kind of walk around, see the site, see if I can reconnect with some folks. But it's kind of a light day. The madness starts tomorrow when they start to work out, so that part will be fun.
All right, I think tonight we're having a steak. My wife says Bucky will keep an eye on you, not let you eat too much steak. You're like the sergeant of arms of the Frangie family. Thanks for coming by, buddy. We appreciate it.
It's always fun.
Back in a moment from the NFL Combine in Indianapolis.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
The station that covers the Jaguars day in and day out.
Where else do you get that analysis? Only here on 1010.
Only here is where you get that.
Jaguars Radio, nowhere else.
The station with the best Jaguars coverage. 1010XL.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Frank Frangie here. It's New Year, new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. With their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Nimnick Chevrolet is more than just trucks. They've got the largest inventory of new Chevy SUVs in town right on their lot. Visit the showroom on Cassett Avenue. NimnickChevy.com. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Cassa Avenue where we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, we have all seen Forevermark diamond ads on television. Tell us about them.
Frank, Forevermark diamonds are a group of diamonds that have been separated from diamond productions in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and Canada because they're beautiful, rare, and responsibly sourced. Also, because the sale of these diamonds benefits the communities they come from, they're selected to carry the Forevermark icon. At Underwoods, we've sold South African and Namibian diamonds before, but Forevermark's different because these diamonds are traced and individually cared for from the mine all the way to her finger. And less than 1% of all diamonds qualify to be Forevermark. These diamonds also only sell through an authorized network of diamond cutters and retail stores that are carefully selected just like the diamonds. Underwoods is proud to be a part of that network, and we were one of the first 5 in the United States to join.
Underwoods, where customers are served with quality and respect. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
What is the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth? The answer next.
There's always a good reason to compare homeowners' insurance rates. You may be paying too much. Protect your home with a Southern Oak insurance policy today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The coldest temperature ever recorded was in Antarctica in July of 1983. An unbelievably cold minus 128.6 degrees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
I'm Max Finke with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Riddle Wellness. The Gators were faced with some adversity last night in their 88-83 loss to Georgia. Down 26 at one point, the Gators made a valiant effort at a comeback, scoring 48 second-half points, but ultimately falling just short. Walter Clayton had a hell of a performance in the loss as he scored 30. While a loss is not the outcome they were after, getting it out of the way now to learn from their mistakes and learning how to play from behind are both key components to playing deep into March. Coach Todd Gold mentioned he was proud of his team's heart and fight, even with the loss.
I'm really proud of our guys. Thought in that type of adverse situation, we showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of grit. To be able to get back to the point where we had a lead with 1 minute to go in this game was pretty incredible. Weren't able to make enough plays down the stretch. We needed one more stop and we couldn't get it and fell a little short.
It's 73 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hodges Mazda presents the Frangie Show at the Combine live from Indy.
Brought to you by Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
We are here at the Combine, our final day here at the Combine in Indianapolis. Frank Frangie with the, is it Buff? What Fournette call you? The buffer? Are you the buffer?
Yeah, it was buffer and something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was like, I'm like, all right, change the business card.
Tony Boselli is the executive vice president. What has it been like? I mean, obviously, this is your dream job, and you've talked about that. But now you've been in place for weeks, a month. Has it been what you thought? Busy as heck. I know that part. What's it been like?
Well, it's not a job.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you love what you're doing and you get to show up every day, you know, it's a dream come true. And, yeah, long hours. But, you know, right now there's so much change going on. And, you know, Liam hired a whole new staff right after we hired him. And then the 50 hours of GM interviews to find James Gladstone. You know, some of the changes we've made and in the strength in the weight room. And so those all, like, you want to go through that process, and interviewing and getting to the right candidate takes a lot of time. And so long hours, you know, and getting ready for this. And our scouting and personnel department's done a great job. Ethan Waugh did a great job as we were going through the process of keeping us on track and the trains on the track. So that was great. But, you know, you leave late some days. But I'll tell you what, Frank, I wake up in the morning bright and early and can't wait to get back to the building and get right back to work. So it's been a dream come true. You know, I almost have to pinch myself. I mean, 30 years ago, I was at this combine getting ready to get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And walking into that first press conference with Tom Coughlin introducing me to all you guys, to think that 30 years later I'm sitting here as the executive vice president of football operations for the team I love and care about to help kind of reset it and get us on the right track with Liam and James, it's a dream come true.
That's really cool, and I know it is. You and I talking offline that I know that. I've been real impressed with both Liam. I've had him on a couple times now and talked to him off air a little bit. Just met James yesterday. They feel like the right guy. Why are they the right guys?
Well, I mean, starting with Liam, and I was kind of behind the scenes in that process, you know, talking to Shad, and then when Trent was here, talking to Trent through the process and making phone calls and kind of learning about people. But you really don't know about anybody until you sit in front of them, and that's why that in-person interviews, all the in-person interviews are so important. So when Shad made the decision to move on from Trent as the GM, he asked me, he said, hey, why don't you be a part of the in-person interviews now? And that was great. Got to meet different candidates and talking to them. And I'll never forget, Liam walked in, and within 30 minutes, I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy for the job. He needs to be our next head coach. And the way I look at it is, the tape is his resume as a football coach. Yeah. I don't need to know whether Liam Cohen can coach football or not. I mean, just turn on the tape. Look what he's done, whether it was at the Rams, the Kentucky Wildcats, or at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The dude knows how to coach offensive football. And so what I wanted to know, what kind of guy is he? And could I project him being the leader of the whole building? Because in our model, the head coach is the voice of the football organization. He's going to set the culture. He's going to coach those players. He's going to manage his coaching staff. And he's going to lead us to victory on the football field. So it's not just being a great offensive coordinator, but can he be a great leader? And it just jumped off the page that he was that type of guy, that he was not a big ego guy, that he was passionate, that he saw the game similar to how at least I felt like we needed to build to have success. Great communicator, and just loved ball. And all he wanted to do was coach football. And so pretty quickly you knew right away, I'm like, I'm going to get along with this guy, number one. Mm-hmm. Number one, he's a heck of a football coach, and he has leadership just pouring out of him, just oozing out of every pore of his body. And so that was clear to me, and I think clear to Shad, that Liam Cohen, obviously clear to Shad, he made the decision, that Liam Cohen was the right guy to lead us, and hopefully for a really, really long time. I like that he's only 39 years old. Mm-hmm. So that means when he's 60, he can retire after being our coach for 21 years.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Win a couple Super Bowls.
And you'll be long retired after that, right?
Well, you know what? I'll be a young 74 at that point, Frank.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I'm all about young when you're old. Trust
that's
me.
what I'm saying. I mean,
okay.
so that was that process, and then you kind of get thrown into the deep end because he gets hired. Next thing I know, I'm the executive vice president, and the two of us are working side by side, long hours.
Right.
And I knew that, it's one thing to talk about collaboration and talk about being a great communicator, but then you have to live it. And immediately I saw that Liam means what he says because it was a collaboration. Now, he's picking his staff. But early he says, hey, why don't you sit on this interview, or hey, can you call this guy? And there was a real collaboration, right away, and we hit it off. And so that was a great first sign. Worked a lot of hours, and I got to see firsthand that he's a grinder. You talk about taking it serious. I mean, 20-hour days of interviewing, running down things, and at the same time trying to meet players and doing all that. And that went right into the GM search. And, we're on a shot clock because you had the combine coming up, and we set up a very detailed process. And I got to give Mark Lamping a ton of credit because he jumped in the middle of it and really helped us get organized. And we had a lot of people involved in it. We wanted that. We wanted to have a collaboration amongst our leadership, both on the football side and the business side. And so we kicked off 10 virtual interviews, 3 hours each. Wow. And, leading that whole process with Mark Lamping and Liam. And Liam's trying to finish his staff off and do that at the same time. And we had 10 great candidates. And I think coming out of the virtual interviews, James had kind of jumped out to both Liam and I. And, and we felt like going into it, said we're going to have 5 guys for in-person interviews. And that's when Shad was going to come in. And my goal was I wanted 5 guys for those in-person interviews that we felt like could be our GM.
I got it.
And so you want to go into that process open-minded, even if, James did a great job. A lot of the candidates did a great job of the virtual. Mm-hmm. And then we did 5 in-person, 4 hours each. We've talked a lot about that. Shad was involved. And at the end of it, what I was looking for, 2 things. One, will the dude fit in with what our vision is for this team? Mm-hmm. Not just on the field, but in the building, the culture that we wanted to set, that it's going to be an elite communicator, have humility, because that humility will lead to collaboration and strong relationships because, 3 of us all reporting to Shad.
Right.
And so his expectation of us is to make all big football decisions and then include him when we need to. And so the type of person was very important to me. And then the second thing is, can he do the job? Can he evaluate? Does he have a process? Is he organized? Is he detailed? Is he forward-thinking? Can he adapt to all the changing landscape of the NFL? And that's where James, he was the dude that I knew he'd fit in and he would work well with us. But then that second part, that's where he really separated himself. We felt like, and at the end of it, all great candidates, all great interviews. But James was clearly the guy that Liam, myself, Shad, and Mark, and Tony Khan thought was the right guy to be the GM.
So, Tony, what's now? Obviously, it looks like most of Liam's staff is there, right? I assume James has to build a scouting staff. I don't know how that works, but is that what's next? I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff to do, but is that the next chronology, in the part of the chronology?
Actually, that's going to – right now what James is doing, jumping in, our scouts, Ethan, pro personnel, our college director, they've all been working full speed.
So that staff's in place, at least for now.
That staff right now. James will come in. He'll bring as much of his process as he can, and his thinking will be injected into it. Yeah. And right now we're just obviously at the combine. We're working through free agency. Mm-hmm. League year starts on the 12th. Free agency is getting ready to kick off here real soon. So we're going through free agency, evaluating the roster. We'll go through that and kind of get our game plan for free agency. But you have to line up your free agency game plan with the college draft. Yeah. They have to work in coordination with each other. So we're right in the middle of that. Then we'll get through free agency, all hands on deck for the college draft. And then I think after the college draft, this is a great opportunity for James to evaluate the people we have. We have good people in this organization, so give James a chance to understand who's who and kind of do an assessment, evaluation of the whole department. And then whatever changes he wants to make after that, that's on him. He's the leader. He's the GM. He'll make those decisions. And I have full confidence that he'll make the right decision.
Let me ask you a story that I was told, confirm or deny it. So, Eric Ciano, that's
yes.
the strength coach. Okay. Fired by Buffalo. Here's the story that I was told by people in the Buffalo area. He's fired by Buffalo. Shocked. Sean McDermott was almost in tears the other day because they're very good family friends. What the Buffalo beat reporters say is got calls from Jets, Bears, Colts, Vikings, maybe. I think that was the combination. Didn't know what to do because he was surprised. Met you. He said after meeting Tony Boselli and the way Tony Boselli laid it out for me, and he used your name, he said, I'm going to Jacksonville. So that's freaking awesome, by the way. I mean, because I like when we win those, if that many people really wanted him.
Yeah.
But is that what happened? Is that's the story from the Buffalo beat area?
Yeah, after Liam had got hired, we kind of did an overall assessment of where we were and some of the things we wanted to do, and we decided to make a change with our strength staff.
Okay.
We made that change, and we started a search process immediately. Ferg, who leads our athletic training, he was a part of it, helping lead that with myself. That whole department reports up to me, but as Liam and I have talked about everything, he has an influence on everything we do.
Sure.
We're never our job in football operations is to serve Liam Cohen and his staff and our players. It's to serve James Gladstone, the personnel department. And so this is going to be collaborative, everything we do. And so immediately we were doing the search, and all of a sudden on a Thursday morning, late in the afternoon, maybe mid-morning, late afternoon, into the night, my phone's blowing up with people I know in the league. Say, hey, you need to talk to Eric Ciano.
Okay.
You need to talk to Eric Ciano. I talked to Liam. He's getting the same thing. All kinds of phone calls about Eric Ciano. And I'm like, hey, what happened? So I'm making phone calls, calling people, and getting a kind of lay of the land. Everyone's shocked.
Right.
Like, everyone I'm talking to saying, this is one of the best strength coaches in the NFL. And so 10:30 at night, I'm driving home, talking to one of the good friend of mine who's a coach in the NFL. He's telling me about Eric Ciano. I call Liam. I say, hey, we can't let the paint dry. And so I text Eric Ciano about 10:45 on Thursday night, and he responded right away. I said, when can you talk?
Told him who you were. Okay.
He goes, I go, when can you talk? He says, I can talk right now. So at 11 p.m., I pick up the phone, call him, and we had about a 30, 45-minute conversation. I said, hey, can you get here tomorrow? And he had called back and said, hey, I got something with my family, his son. I said, listen, I'll make you a deal. If you commit to me that you will not go somewhere else or sign a lot of offers until you come here Monday morning,
right?
Then you should spend time with your family. Family first. Obviously, everyone knows how I feel about family. And he says, great, you have my word. I said, all right, I'm going to take you at your word. And I said, you have my word. Monday morning, you be there. We'll talk. So he came in Monday morning. We put him through an interview. Ferg, Bach, who's over our sports science, Liam, myself, we all met with them all day Monday. And I'm like, Ferg, do not let Eric Ciano get on a plane.
That's awesome.
Do not let him leave.
Freaking awesome.
And so Liam and I talked, got the contract, and made a contract offer, and he took it. And I said, you're not getting on that plane to that paper sign, because I'm not letting you out of the building. Because we knew.
So that's the story. The story's true.
It is true. We felt like he was the right guy to bring the juice and the energy. We got his staff all settled. We got a couple new assistants for him. And we're really excited about that whole room. And that's a great example, Frank, of I think how people should expect us to work in the future together. We're going to collaborate on everything. Doesn't matter. We're not worried about who reports to who or whatever. We're going to make the best decisions for the Jacksonville Jaguars and decisions that allow us to win football games, because all that matters is winning on Sunday. That's all we care about. And Liam and I have talked about it since the day he got hired. We say it with James now. We're going to keep the main thing, and that's winning on the grass.
That's great stuff. I got about 40 seconds left.
Okay.
How far away are the Jags? You and I have had this talk as broadcasters. Well, you're not that anymore.
Sure.
But now you're, not that your opinion didn't matter before, but now it matters. How close?
You know, it doesn't matter how far or close I say we are right now. Nothing matters till you get on the field in September.
Okay.
I think we have good players. I think we have a quarterback we believe in. We got 2 rush ends that are good football players. We have a number 1 receiver who's an absolute stud in BT. We got a lot of really good pieces. We got work to do, But as we talked about, Liam, James, and I talk about all the time, all we can do is win today. We're going to win right now. We're going to get through this. We got to have a great free agency. We got to come up with a really good, strong strategy. We have the draft. And we're going to set ourselves up when we kick it off in September where we can go compete, and we're going to go win some football games. And I got a lot of confidence in what we're building here. And but the proof is in the pudding.
You're going to crush it in that job. Congratulations, bro.
Thanks.
All right, Tony Boselli, the Executive Vice President of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
For many, it's the happiest place on earth.
At 17 in Players Championship.
Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling.
And Beaver Toyota.
On 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Hello, I'm attorney Malcolm Anthony. Being charged with domestic violence can turn your life upside down. If you're in trouble, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
This month, 1010XL shines the spotlight on African Americans in our community who have made the First Coast a better place to live. I'm E.T. Listen for my stories during Black History Month on 1010XL. Brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy-efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Everybody everybody, Mike Dempsey here with Matt and Catherine. They made the decision to lose weight and improve their lives together, both dropping 33 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss.
She came home so excited one day and said, I heard about Awaken 180. I'm so excited. You have to try it with me. It's not medication. It's not a shot. It's food. You're going to make meals. And I think that was one of the biggest selling points.
What makes Awaken 180 different is the maintenance program. Just to know that you get that support gives me the confidence to keep going. I think it's important for people to know how much more fun it is to do it with a partner. Just to have the support system, it's so much more helpful.
It's going to change your life.
Thanks, guys. Like any goal, accomplishing it with someone sharing the same goal makes it twice as easy and twice as rewarding. Grab a coworker, friend, or spouse and make your 180 with the solution for weight loss online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
Staying alive one night of the Bee Gees, a tribute like you've never seen before. Experience the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist performed live March 6th at Jack Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. We are live here at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Frank, let's start with the Tony Boselli interview. Great job on that. What an amazing story about the pursuit and hiring of this new strength coach. And boy, that's the signal of a new kind of mantra with the Jaguars. Seize the day.
Let me tell you the story. I just told you and JJ this off the air. So I did the interview with Tony on Helmets and Heels Live. Now, Tony's one of my closest friends, so we talk all the time. So it's not like somebody new to me. But I did the interview, and Lauren was kind enough to throw it to us. And Lauren and me and Taylor kind enough to let us do the interview during their time frame. So I did the interview, threw it back to Lauren afterwards. And we went on to the next thing. We're planning the show, and you and I were working on everything. So I didn't have a chance to listen to the interview, even though I did it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So just now, you and I, since the interview was recorded earlier, we're sitting here in Indianapolis listening to it back. I'm ready to go play, bro. I'm ready to put a hand on the ground. I mean, he's going to be so good, and he's so real. Tony Boselli is freaking real. He's genuine. It's visceral. That's who he is. He's so passionate about that. But let me tell you something he told me after we hung up, after the interview. We were walking around, just kind of hanging out for a few minutes. He said, Frank, we're not going to lose battles like that. We're not going to be the doormat. We're nobody's doormat. We're not going to be that anymore. I'm not saying we were that, but we're not going to be that anymore. We're going to win battles like that one for Eric Ciano. And he said in the interview, that's the kind of collaboration people can look for. Well, I'll take it a step further. That's the kind of fight and grit and wins people can look for. I'm ready to go play. I mean, so felt different about it listening back to it, if that makes any sense at all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, it's a new era, and everybody's really excited about it, as they should be. So the defensive line and linebackers met with reporters today here at the Combine. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham was certainly one of the stars here nationally, but certainly from a local spotlight, a guy we were looking at. I don't think we're getting Abdul Carter, so he won't be on the board. But Mason Graham said, look, if you have any questions about anything that I have in terms of athletic traits, put on the Ohio State film, and you can see what I can do. Would you like him with the 5th pick if he's available?
My favorite guy in the draft for the Jags that can reasonably be there. Honestly, might be my favorite guy for the Jags to draft. Reasonably or not reasonably, the one X factor there is if quarterbacks go high and Travis Hunter drops, you might have to take him. He might be Deion Sanders all over again. Seriously, I mean, he might be that good. But apart from that, I think Mason Graham's the guy I want them to take.
Let's get into around the NFL a little bit. 49ers GM John Lynch spoke here today. A few key elements. He said they will honor Deebo Samuel's trade request. He said offensive tackle Trent Williams is ready to return next season. That's huge for San Fran. And they have started contract talks with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Brock, of all those, the one that stood out to me most is the Brock Purdy. I hope they were committed to him. They should be committed to him, but you never know how people feel about quarterbacks. He's not the biggest, strongest, fastest. He's just a damn good player. So John Lynch is a very respected guy here. You can see when he's around, there's a buzz around him, just a regular guy. And, I think they should. To me, the news there is the Purdy news, and I think they're making a wise decision.
Washington is allowing defensive lineman Jonathan Allen to pursue a trade. The 30-year-old Allen has 42 career sacks. We'll be interested to see what kind of market he has.
He's a really good defensive tackle, man. Those two tackles together have been really good for a long time. Oh, I think he'll have a market. Now, listen, he's an interior guy, not an edge, and he's 30, not 25. I get that. But I tell you, you clog up the middle. He's a good player. I think there will be a market for him. I do.
ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. put out his latest mock draft. He has the Jaguars taking Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham with the 5th pick. He's got Abdul Carter going first to the Titans, Cam Ward going to the Browns, followed by Travis Hunter to the Giants at 3, and Will Campbell to the Patriots at 4.
In that mock, Shedeur Sanders doesn't go higher via trade or whatever. That's the X factor to me. I think he's got the first 3 or 4 or 5 right if somebody doesn't get quarterback happy and go up to get Sanders, which bumps everybody down. If that doesn't happen, I think he's pretty close to right.
Let's get into college football. Florida has hired Steve Spurrier Jr. in a support role. The 53-year-old Spurrier was with Tulsa last season.
Yeah, I heard he was going to be an analyst. I heard that a while ago. Good football mind. You know what? Pretty good lineage there. So I think Steve Spurrier Jr. will only help the cause.
Jim Nagy is leaving his post at the Senior Bowl to take the GM job at Oklahoma.
I will be very interested to see how that affects the Senior Bowl. I think Phil Savage did a good job with the Senior Bowl. He kind of brought it back to prominence. But I thought Jim Nagy took it to a next level, the next level. The messaging was so important, Hayes. He sent the message or spread the message. Jim Nagy was proud of that dang Senior Bowl and what they were doing. He'll do a good job at Oklahoma. I hope the Senior Bowl continues the very clear momentum. Now, look, they've got relationships with both the NFL Network and ESPN, so I think they will. But I hope the Senior Bowl continues on the track they're on and continues the momentum that I think Jim Nagy brought to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to college basketball. Number 3, Florida rallied from 26 down but fell at unranked Georgia 88-83. Will Richards scored a career-high 30 points, but little else went right for UF, who missed 11 free throws. The Gators are now 24-4 overall and 11-4 in SEC play, good for 3rd place. UF remained 4th in the country in the net rankings, while the Bubble Bulldogs climbed 4 spots to 36th.
Yeah, a few things on that. Number one, they've been playing with fire with these slow starts. They've been a little bit of a slow starting team. They've overcome it most of the time. This is the first time they didn't overcome one of those slow starts. I mean, Tennessee, they just got blown out. But it's the first time they didn't overcome a slow start. Georgia was a desperate team. You and I talked about that before the game even started. A bunch of us were watching it together here in Indy, and you thought that might happen. 2 things. Number one, that definitely hurt their chances to get a number 1 seed. They're now 5-4 in quad 1 games. That was quad 1 game. They're now 5-4 in quad 1 games. There's a number of teams in the SEC with more quad 1 wins than they have, so that'll affect them a little bit. It could knock them from a 1 to a 2 or even ultimately a 3 seed. So that's the big thing. The other side of that is, though, they are better when the game really matters. That was a game that was on the road against a team they had beaten by 30. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you my assessment of it. On the road against a team they had beaten by 30 points. They were going to be at full strength because Condon returned. If ever there was a game you were not going to have your A game, it's that one. But you got to make your free throws. But they've got to do something about those slow starts. Slow start. Remember, you're 1 and done in the NCAA tournament. 1 slow start, and all of a sudden you've lost. That's what they have to be careful of.
The Gators now have to buckle up to avoid a skid. UF hosts Texas A&M on Saturday. The Aggies are 17th in the net rankings. Next week, Florida travels to Alabama, who is 6th, and closes with a home game against Ole Miss, who was 25th in the net. UF is 1 game up on Tennessee and Missouri as it tries to earn a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament and the double bye.
I think they're going to beat Texas A&M. Game day's there. This will be now they'll have a chip on their shoulder. This will be a game that everyone's paying attention. That's when they've been really good, Hays. When everyone's paying attention and they've got that chip on their shoulder, I think they'll play very well in that game. I think at Alabama is going to be hard, but if they lose at Alabama, and if I was going to guess right now, I would pick Alabama because they're at home in that game. They'll get that chip again for the home game against Ole Miss. I would guess they're 24-4 now. I would guess 26-5 is probably a pretty good guess. That would mean 12-5 in the SEC, which is pretty damn good.
Without a doubt, the regular season finale has arrived for both JU and UNF. Let's start with the Dolphins. They host Stetson. JU is 11-6, while Stetson is 6-11. The Dolphins are a 13.5-point favorite.
Win tonight and you get a home game, and I think that matters. So I think that's what JU's playing for. The potential is there to not have a home game if you don't win that game. So JU's had a really good year. 11-6 in any league is a damn good year. Love to see him finish it off with a win against Stetson, who they should beat. They're better than Stetson. They should win this game. They should get to 12-6 in the league.
Yeah, and again, great run there, and that would give them a home game as the ASUN tournament starts next week. That's amazing how close we're getting to March Madness. UNF is 8-9 in ASUN play. They will host Eastern Kentucky, who is 11-6. The Ospreys are a 1.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they're going to win. I'm telling you, I've said this all along, and I'll stand by this. Nobody wants to play them. I don't care what their record is. When they get going on those threes, nobody in that ASUN tournament wants to draw the Ospreys. Nobody. I mean, as good a season as JU's having, UNF swept them. All right. So when UNF gets it going from that arc, they're the best 3-point shooting team in the country. We've talked about that many times. Keep an eye on the Ospreys when they get in that tournament. I really believe that.
Let's move it to the NBA. Lakers superstar Luka Doncic recorded a triple-double against his old Mavericks team, scoring 19 points with 15 rebounds and 12 assists in a 107-99 win. Doncic became the third player in NBA history to record a triple-double against all 30 teams, joining teammate LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. The Lakers are 35-21, fourth in the West.
I'll tell you this. Let me tell you how gigantic that trade now, the Luka Doncic to the Lakers trade. People like us are paying attention. People, you always have they call them P1s, preferred ones. You always have your primary fans. No matter what happens, you're going to have those. The Pirates still have me, and they've been lousy for 30 years. You're always going to have your primary fans in a sport. But this trade got our attention. Not just me and you. It got the attention of a lot of folks. And if they continue to win, all of it. How about this? How about if he makes them so good, combined with LeBron, that they run through the West? And with apologies to the Cavs, who are so good, the Celtics win the East. How about Lakers-Celtics? We just had Yankees-Dodgers. How about if we had Yankees-Dodgers and Lakers-Celtics in back-to-back MLB and NBA finals? Wouldn't that be great?
Notre Dame, Ohio State.
And we had Notre Dame, Ohio State. Good call, JJ. So, blue bloods all around for sure.
Absolutely. We haven't gotten to this story, but it's something I want to get you guys' thoughts on. Let's get into Major League Baseball. ESPN dropping baseball.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was, and I hate it. I don't think they just couldn't come to a deal. I think MLB needs ESPN worse than ESPN needs baseball. And I think when you get away from the worldwide leader, it's hard to stay as relevant as you'd like to. Yes, I'm very bothered by that story. JJ, how about you?
Yeah, I thought ESPN would re-sign just because it seemed so cheap for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with Frank that it sucks to be out of the spotlight. But at the same time, I can't remember the last time I watched a Sunday night non-Braves broadcast. So outside of the playoffs, do they even talk about MLB? But yeah, it sucks they're not on there anymore.
Because here's what happens. Like this TGL, our friend Chris Reimer runs it. It's a wonderful idea. They play arena golf and all the good stars, Rory and Tiger, all there. Tiger and Rory, all of them. You got to say Tiger before Rory because he's the greatest player. I correct myself. But what made it, but ESPN leaning into it is why people are paying attention. I remember when the NHL got off ESPN, it almost died. Do you remember that? Nobody knew, and then it went back on, and so
it was on the Outdoors Network.
Yes, yeah. I hate that baseball is not going to be on ESPN. I'm like JJ. That doesn't mean I do watch a lot of games, but it's not about how many games I'm going to watch. It's just there's a presence when you're a sports presence when you're on the worldwide leader that goes away when you're not.
Yeah, well said. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. Look, we're not changing.
No, you don't change.
We're in Indiana.
We're in Indy.
We're in the heartland. We are playing John Mellencamp, and this is one of his best ones. This is Hurts So Good.
I was trying to think the other day, what's the anthem? Jack and Diane, Hurts So Good. There's about 10 anthems.
It really
is. There so are.
He's the rare artist where you could really have a spirited debate over what is the anthem.
Mellencamp all week on the headline wrap-up. Well done, as always.
Thank you.
From my friend Hays Carlyon. We'll be back. What a day this has been. A lot of good stuff. What a week this has been here at the Combine. We'll be back to wrap it up from Indy after this.
Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The PGA Tour heading to Palm Beach for the Cognizant Classic. It begins a 4-tournament Florida swing for the tour. Daniel Berger and Shane Lowry are the betting favorites to win the tournament, both at plus 2,000. Russell Henley and Stepp Straka are both plus 2,200. Sungjae Im plus 2,500. Denny McCarthy, Minwoo Lee, and Taylor Pendrith all at plus 3,300. Cameron Young plus 3,500. With the Masters coming up in April, defending champion Scotty Scheffler is the betting favorite to win his third green jacket at plus 400. Rory McIlroy plus 800. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Hon, who'd you call to fix our plumbing issue?
I forget their name. They said they do plumbing work.
Then what's that big thing they're driving?
Looks like a grease truck.
Grease truck?
To pump the grease traps.
You wouldn't call a landscaper to floor your home, so why call a grease trap company for a plumbing issue? Duck Duck Rooter is your certified plumbing contractor, specializing in all things plumbing. Get Jacksonville's real plumbing pros. Visit duckduckrooter.com, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
To get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Prize, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hays Blog on 1010XL.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and you got really cool things going on right now because there's new product coming in the showroom. Tell everybody about the Aprilia Demo Days.
March 11th and 12th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have the Aprilia demo truck. We caught them on the way back from Daytona Bike Week. They're going to be there. Come ready to ride.
Tell everybody real quick about Aprilia.
They are a bad Italian motorcycle. Nobody's ever ridden an Italian anything and said that wasn't fun.
Check it out. Cycles of Jacksonville. All the details on their Facebook page.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's ORDER to 42424.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, our final day here at the Combine in Indianapolis. Mia will still be tracking some interviews tomorrow, by the way, but it's our final day. Hays and I will be on a plane tomorrow getting back. What did we do today? Well, Pete Prisco stopped by. He's always fantastic, talking about the Jags, the Combine, the NFL. Bucky Brooks was fantastic as well. I hope you heard that interview from here at the NFL Combine. And, of course, my friend Tony Boselli, the Executive Vice President, is one of the best interviews, one of the most fun interviews I've ever done. He's got me ready to run through a wall. It was all Jaguars most of the day today, and we talked about it at length. A lot of buzz about this Jaguar team. We also had headlines. Hayes talked about things going on, including the Florida Gator loss last night. And but we certainly had a fun time talking all things NFL. Do want to remind you, by the way, we'll be back in town tomorrow. We'll be at Dua, that's D-U-A, Dua Restaurant and Lounge on Bay Meadow. That is a fun place. It's new Mediterranean food. It's open 4 to midnight. A great place for happy hour, a great place to stop by. And, by the way, we'll have a bunch of $25 gift cards to give away. So come see us. Let's talk some Jaguars football tomorrow. Hays and I can give you kind of the lowdown on what it's been like in Indianapolis. So it's this upscale Mediterranean restaurant and lounge. It's really got a charming ambiance to it. So come see us tomorrow. It is on Bay Meadows Road, just a little bit east of Phillips Highway, between Phillips and 95, but just a hair east of Phillips Highway. So come on by and see us. We'd love to have you stop by. That's Dua Restaurant and Lounge tomorrow. That's where our program will be. We'll be on a plane tomorrow morning, back in town to host the remote tomorrow night, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. So come see us at Dua. We would love to have you do it. I'm ready to play football. I'm ready for the season.
I am
Let's
too.
start this thing.
Give
These
us a
guys have me
schedule
fired
and
up
let's
now.
go play. I mean, it is. It's an exciting time, and you know, it's we're getting close to some really big decisions. And again, the mindset that Tony Boselli has brought, and I think that Liam Cohen has. I you know, it was refreshing to hear in the interview that you had with Tony that he knew Liam Cohen was the guy right away. I mean, what did he say? Like 30 seconds
Right.
in,
He said,
basically,
"This is our guy. This is
it
our
was
guy."
like, I knew this was our guy. And so, yeah, that attacking mindset, you know, we see these organizations, they go and make moves, and we're like, boy, why didn't the Jaguars think of doing something like that? I mean, you'll see sometimes a quality veteran player will be traded for a 4th round pick because of a cap, big cap number, something like that. And it just hasn't seemed like, in terms of like a bold move, I mean, you might have to go all the way back to like the Marcel Darius midseason trade in 17 and that's just one example. But to hear how aggressive they were in filling out the staff, and they're going to apply that to free agency and to the draft. It's really exciting, and I'm very eager to see what this roster is going to look like under the tutelage of these men.
Yeah, I really am too. And again, I know everybody's undefeated in February or in the off season. I get it, but this one does feel a little bit different. So free agency. By the way, I just thought about this. Free agency's in a week, dude. I mean, a week and a half. I mean, realistically, you think about this Wednesday, okay, 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from today, but the legal tampering day is 12 days from today.
Yeah.
I mean, you blink, and here comes free agency, man.
That's
I mean
right.
that right, and then of course the draft is after that. We all know the calendar, but it got here fast.
It did.
I mean, here we are. We're 12 days from legal tampering.
Yeah, and we're going to have some new Jaguars. That'll be a lot of fun. And again, we'll see. That'll be the first sort of indication of where they want to build this thing, and also it'll give us a pretty good indication of what they want to do with that 5th pick.
Yeah,
and probably 2nd, 3rd round, some indications there as well, because in free agency, what immediate holes are they going to try and fill? And then the holes that they don't, that's probably a pretty good bet for where they're going to go with the 5th pick.
One quick tip of the cap, by the way, to Mia O'Brien, who worked with us.
Sure, yeah.
These interviews you see on Twitter, how well edited they are, the ISOs, all the stuff. Mia has been grinding on this stuff, and Mia has really worked hard. I mean, really worked
I don't know how she carried the bag through the airport
with all the big lights and all.
Yeah,
so
we helped her when she was here with it, and so she's done an unbelievable job.
So real tip of the cap, Mia. Thank you for how hard you've worked and how she's really built our digital operation. Steve Griffin, our GM, had a vision of what he wanted to do with social and digital and video, and brought in Mia, and I think she has executed that vision he had. So real thanks to Mia, and a tip of the cap to her. And I mean that very sincerely. We did not talk a lot about the Gator loss. We certainly will tomorrow, and about JU and UNF having those huge games tonight. But we sure wish them both well. Hope they both win tonight and get set to play in that ASUN tournament coming up next week. Again, this has been about the NFL. This has been about representing our sponsors and our listeners and our radio station here in Indianapolis. But we haven't had a lot of time to talk about the other things. But I promise you we will. And one more time, let me remind you, we will be at Dua Restaurant and Lounge on Bay Meadows Road tomorrow. Back in town. Hays and I will be out there. It's on Bay Meadows Road, just a hair east of Phillips Highway. Hope you'll stop by and say hello. Now let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Baloo, they've got me fired up. I'm ready for football here after 3 days of this combine, my man. Let's go. I'm ready.
There's a lot of rumors going around, and I just received one from an incredible source. I'm hoping that you two can confirm this.
Sure.
That tonight, Hays Carlyon has been given unlimited funds from 1010XL to take Mason Graham out to St. Elmo's.
That's right. Here we go.
That's 100% true.
All the shrimp cocktail Mason can eat.
I've seen the emails. I've seen the affirmations. I've seen the affidavits.
Okay.
It's all true, and I think it's going to be Hays and Mason having a big time.
All right. Now, the fine print said to that, if he does go over a certain amount, Hays is responsible for hitchhiking back home.
That's all true, too. Yeah. How does he know this stuff? I've always said Baloo's got sources, man.
He's got the best sources.
He's got sources. That's what makes him great. So that's exactly right.
He's impressive, though. I know. And I'm going to make this beginning part of the show tonight really about him because I know we talked about it last night, Frank. You want a guard. I want a wide receiver. To me, it's kind of 1-1A. They have to address both, and I want it immediately, whether it's free agency or at number 5. But it feels like a lot of Jaguar fans are saying, no, no, no. You need a defensive lineman. Mason Graham is the guy. So that's what I'm going to roll out with tonight. Yeah. Really allow these Jaguar listeners to tell me why Mason Graham is what the way they describe it is almost a can't-miss prospect.
Yeah, and I do think the way it falls, he's the one that's going to land there, Rick. I really think the way it falls, who might be, if the quarterbacks go high and you knock Travis Hunter down, then that changes the conversation a bit, I suppose.
Yeah.
Barring that, I think it's probably going to be Mason Graham. I think you're exactly right. So, all right. Well, you know what? I know you'll be tackling it. You'll tackle the draft and a whole lot more coming up in just a bit.
Look forward to it. Starts just a couple of minutes. You guys have a safe trip back.
All right. Thank you, Rick. We appreciate that. Don't go anywhere. Rick's going to have all kind of great conversation about the combine and about a whole lot more. We're out of here. Hays, it was fun. We enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
We'll be back on the plane again. Thanks again to Mia for all the work she did on the digital and video side here at 1010XL for making sure we got here. It was a fun trip. No question about this. Thanks to our sponsors as well. We'll be back tomorrow at Dua Restaurant in Jacksonville. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.